Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarah Shazad, and welcome to CxO TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for members around the globe. This platform links C level leaders with influencers and key stakeholders across various industries. Joining us today, Ms. Fatima Mazhar, Chief Operations Officer at COLABS. Good evening, Ms. Fatima. How are you today?
Good evening. I'm a bit tired, but very excited to be here.
Thank you
Let's
very much and welcome to our show. Be a part of us. Thank you very much for that. So, ma'am, first of all, please tell us how did you land at CoLabs?
Oh, it's a very exciting story. So
Really? We would like to know.
I had started a company a couple of months ago in Feb this year with a co-founder, and unfortunately, me and my co-founder did not see eye to eye on. We had like a little bit of a personality clash or a vision clash.
Okay.
I decided to step away from that startup that I co-founded with my partner, and so I was naturally a bit heartbroken. I didn't talk much about it, so I decided that I wanted to kind of really think what I wanted to do next. And I couldn't do it sitting at home.
Exactly. Okay.
So I looked at co working spaces, and CoLabs was at the very top in
Okay.
people that I spoke to. So I went and I took a tour of CoLabs. And so
Okay.
I got an office there and I sat down and I didn't spend a lot of time thinking or doing anything because there were so many startups there, and uh, some of them knew me, some of them I knew about. So I started talking to them, and then the CoLabs team and I got to be very close to each other. And Omar Shah, who's relentless in his pursuit of talent, who is
Wow.
the owner and CEO of CoLabs, um,
Okay.
asked me why don't I join him, and I said no, I don't think I want to join something, and I was going to take a break. And he said, okay, why don't you just be an advisor? So it started from
Okay.
there. I started advising them, and this was like, and he started inviting me to his meetings. And the more I saw the potential in CoLabs and what they were doing, I was just like, this is the place I want to be. So even to date, there's no contract, but I'm working with them, and I'm actually Omar Shah's partner now. I own a part of CoLabs, and so this is the most exciting journey. I think had Dukan not happened, I wouldn't have gone to CoLabs, and then CoLabs wouldn't have
Exactly.
happened.
Exactly. You
So
never
I'm
know.
excited about it.
You never know what's there for you. You never know.
Yes.
So, ma'am, how do you, since you are holding a key position there, so how do you define leadership?
So, leadership to me is very different from what other people think leadership is. I think leadership is all about serving your team to do the best that they can.
True,
And by
true
that, I mean,
that.
listen, I can go in there, I can be a little angry, I can show a lot of attitude and tell them to get things done. But I've seen in my years of limited years of leadership that that's never worked out for me. Here's what's worked out for me. I go, I talk to the
That's
team
what
at
leaders do. Yeah,
so I go and I talk to them on their level. I'm very transparent to them. So say, for example, I say you can't give a discount at CoLabs, and so sales are easy when you give a discount. But if I sit with them and explain to them that listen, if we give discount to one, we'll have to give it to everyone else, and then we don't meet
exactly,
our bottom line. So if you draw a picture for them and make them part of the journey and say, listen, if you're able to sell at this point, we will be
exactly.
profitable, they understand and they respond much better. And if you come and see me in any of my positions, I will be sitting in the middle of the team. I will be chatting with them. I will be eating with them. I'll be just hanging out with them because
So
I
you're a
don't
good
want.
boss.
I don't know if I'm a good boss. Listen, I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of men in
No, we
my
can
journey.
tell you're a good boss because most of the time it doesn't happen,
Yes,
and
but
your team is lucky to have you around.
thank you. But a lot of time I've been given the suggestion that you have to act like a boss sometimes, and maybe sometimes people do take me a little lightly. But I think I've gotten a lot more done out of people by pure respect and love than I
True,
have by being
absolutely.
hierarchical. So for me, leadership is about serving them, being there for them, listening to them, and actually hiring people that are better than me and then letting them do what they can do and just be like that guiding person because I can't do everything these people do. They're rock stars. Oh my God. So I'm not made to do all of that.
Well said, ma'am. Well said. Very impressive. So,
Fatima,
how
please don't
cool.
call me ma'am. I hate being called ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Fatima. So, how CoLabs is different from other such similar solutions? What's your differentiation?
So I think a co-working space is usually a co-working space, and there's not much that can be differentiated. But with collabs, we don't see it as just a space that we're selling. We do not sell real estate. What we do is we are trying to bring a community together. So most of the
Okay.
time we have some visitors at collabs. We take great pride. So when you come in and you sit at collabs, we know each and every person's name on your team. We know what their role is. We know what you're looking for. We know how much you've raised. We know who you're raising for. So most of the time some investor will come, we'll introduce them to the startups. Sometimes there'll be somebody looking for a job, we'll know who needs a job, we'll guide them to that place. So for us,
Right.
collabs, it's a family. And what we've done is we evolve with the team. So there's people that started with collabs with 2 people, and now they're 30 people. So now we're making a whole
Wow.
building. We're making a whole building that's catering to our clients that have more than 30 people, because co-working spaces usually do not have that space. We're also
Yeah.
thinking of how to bring in fitness to our facility. We're bringing in a lot of talks. We're bringing in a lot of investors, a lot of mentors. We're constantly thinking of what can we do better so that the startups that are sitting here have an advantage. We have like 150 partnerships across the ecosystem.
Okay.
So that's how
Great.
we're different. We're not selling seats. We're actually
Okay.
making lives easier for startups.
Exactly. But that's what it's meant for.
Yeah.
So, you believe that failure is connected with success. That's a unique theory. Tell us more about it.
So look, failure is very, very important for you to understand um,
Agreed.
that things can go wrong, for you to understand
Exactly.
that you're not perfect. I think we all grow up thinking that things are going to be easy. They're not. But I think a lot of people have this thing where they don't take risks and they'll go a certain way. So they will not feel a lot of failure. I think my biggest achievement has been that I was able to fail
Mhm.
publicly, because I told the world I
Okay.
was starting a startup. Then I told the world I couldn't make it work. I was a big failure.
Exactly. Wow.
During that time, the support that I got from people over LinkedIn, over the ecosystem, over whatever was incredible. Like, I realized that more people were looking at my post that I talked about failure than they were when I was boasting. Um, I mean, I'm not boasting. No, not boasting. I think like when you share your success, that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
But I think here it humbled me. And I think the most important quality in a leader, in somebody working, is being humble. So it humbled me. It taught me what was wrong. More importantly, most importantly, it taught me I didn't want to be a co founder. And I think that is an actual really good realization that that's not something that I want to do. I want to help CEOs build their startup.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
there is no shame in being a person that says, I cannot do it. I don't want to do it. I'd rather help somebody else do it. Co-founders
That's
cannot make
true.
something on their own. They're nothing without their team. So I'm always going to be one of those people. So I'm grateful for the failure. And this is not the only time I failed. When I started my career, I did not know what I wanted to do. So I like tried 20 million things, then failed miserably at maybe 20, 19 million things. So then I picked one that I could work with.
Wow,
So
great.
without failure, you cannot enjoy success, because you don't even
Exactly.
know what success is
What
unless and
success
until you
is. Exactly.
taste
It's a
it
great
fully.
message for our viewers, not to be heartbroken and keep
Yes,
trying.
for
Keep
sure.
trying.
Yes.
So, do you see positive outlook on such a business post pandemic where remote working is becoming popular?
So look, post pandemic, I see a lot of value to co-working spaces. Here's why. A lot of the big companies have this huge space. They pay so much in rent. I was a GM of Keep Truckin'. You don't want to know how much we paid in rent, right? So what's going to probably happen is, yes, remote work might become alive, but apart from that, what's going to happen is some people do need social interactions. Like engineers working on a project together will need to sit and brainstorm. Some teams will need to come in. So co-working spaces are going to be the best place, because teams will probably get smaller offices and say, hey, this many people can come in on this day at any time, and then you'll have service. Do you know how much it costs to like have a generator, internet, all of those
Exactly.
services? Why
Yeah.
would you want to do that? I think remote work is a possibility, but I think at our basic level, we're social animals. So if you want to get the best out of a job,
Exactly.
have some sort of.
And once you're not coming out of your house, you don't feel like working. You are not in that frame of mind. So
So
that's
that's
one.
very important. So my thing is it's going to be hybrid workspaces, and what better way to have a hybrid workspace than to have a co-working space where you could either have
Hmm.
like an office, or you could have some seats where you can come in, or meeting spaces even, which is what a lot of people use us for. So I think co-working is the way forward for not only Pakistan, a lot of other countries. And I think that if I were at a big corporate now, I would be thinking, how do I make co-working a reality, or partner with a co-working so I don't have to
Exactly.
maintain this expensive real estate?
Exactly.
Instead, take that money and spend it on my people. Maybe get them some L&D budget, maybe get them
Yeah.
some things instead of spending it on AC, you know, generator and internet.
Exactly, exactly. So we keep learning on every step, in every step of our lives, and interaction is one thing which is very important. So you're meeting new people out there, you learn a lot of things. So that's wonderful. That's a great idea. So your biggest clients must be startups. So what is the future of startup?
Oh, startups. Well, looking at how much funding, 500 million,
You're the
almost
best person to ask.
we've raised quarter of a billion in Pakistan this year. I think for the next few years, startup, next maybe 10 years, startup is the future for our country. I think what's happening is all over the world, startups are the way to go. Traditional
Yeah,
companies are hard to build. There are only so many, so people will need those opportunities. And I think a lot of things are changing, and people do want
yeah,
to be entrepreneurs. So startups have a great future. I just hope that people actually now get serious about going to incubators, get serious about learning how to raise funding, get serious about
true.
how to be entrepreneurs. I've said this time and time again. In Pakistan, what needs to change is the startup community needs to sit with the government and decide what kind of curriculum we should have in schools now, so we can prepare a lot of
Yeah.
these students to be entrepreneurs. So that needs to change. Other than that, startup is the way to go. I haven't worked in anything other than a startup in a very long time. I don't know. I
Hmm.
haven't worked for any big corporate in my 13, 14 years of career. So I don't even know how
Okay.
that works.
And I think a lot of people are doing that now because
Yeah.
people are like maybe the opportunities out there are not much. So people
Yeah.
are just starting on their own. So it's and
I
such
think
kind of solutions.
Sorry,
Yeah, ma'am.
it's not even about opportunities. I think once people see the kind of culture that exists in a startup, the kind of
Hmm.
power and autonomy they get, they are naturally inclined towards startups. So, we there was a discussion that we were having. I think it was the Step conference where people were talking about talent and why startups are getting this talent, and it's really because at startups you get a sense of ownership, you get autonomy,
Yeah,
get to
true. True
really
that.
make an impact. Everyone wants to make an impact. And the level of importance that you get at a startup, you cannot get at a big corporate unless and until you're at a senior position. So you're taking the youth,
Exactly.
you're empowering them, you're giving them all these tools. So it's a no brainer that startups is the way to go.
Yeah, well said, ma'am. Well said. So,
Man,
as a female lead, I'm sorry about that. So, Fatma, as a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
um, so from day one, I didn't see myself as a female leader. I just saw myself as a leader. So if somebody did call me a female leader, I said I'm not a female leader, because you don't call a man leader. You just call a leader a leader.
Yeah,
Uh, Honestly, the barriers, if there were any, were so insignificant that I probably have forgotten them, because there's certain things that you don't forget. I think I've been called emotional, or maybe sometimes I've been told that I can't be a good leader because I'm too friendly. Maybe I've been told that I think too much about the people. But I decided at a very long time ago, Princess Diana is one of my favorite personalities. And she has this quote where she says, I don't think from my head, I think from my heart. And that's how I've
we have
been
something
always.
in common.
No. Not that I would have anything in common, but I think that was the first time I learned that there are other people that feel that way. So I had to accept the fact that I am going to be more empathetic than other people. I am going to care more about people, but I decided that that makes me a better leader than any other leader. So if there were barriers, I just smashed through them. If there were barriers, maybe I cried about them at night, but in the morning, I put on my game face and I went through.
Exactly, exactly.
And
That's
my
right.
advice to everyone, so my only advice to everyone is stop listening to the noise outside and just focus. If you
Exactly.
work hard and you focus, eventually you're going to get there. No
But
barriers.
mostly our female workers or leaders or those who are in a position, very responsible positions, they have few barriers still,
Of course.
and they are tied up somewhere. They are tied up.
Yeah.
It can be very frustrating for them. So, what advice would you like to give it to them and to the next generation of female gender?
So I think one of the things that needs to be made very clear is I am a person who chose her career and then decided that I decided as a female, which is really wrong, and I'll say it, on
Okay.
live, that I could only do either work or have a family. So I decided that I wasn't going to get married, and there's a lot of things here that made it easier for me. So if when I wasn't married, when I wasn't married, sorry, there's somebody that's entered my room.
So,
When I wasn't married, sorry, um, it gives me a lot more time. So one of the barriers that people face is when they have family, and so they have to kind of divide time. So a lot of the times, women are not promoted because they say, "Oh, iski to family ho jayegi, then what's going to happen?" So I didn't have that. But I think my advice is whenever they feel a certain way, to kind of forget that they are a woman, and kind of forget that. Sorry.
so this is why I was talking about significant barrier, but you're dealing it very fantastically.
Yes. I mean, not that I haven't had problems, but you know, um, here's what this a lovely female colleague of mine once told me. Listen, you're gonna face issues. You're gonna have problems. Find a
Yeah,
therapist or find a friend outside of work, and just talk to them. Don't bring it to work. And it's easier
yeah,
said than done. I know that a lot of women go through a lot of tough times, so I'm not in any
exactly,
way marginalizing what
exactly,
they go through. But I think one mindset is there that nobody can defeat your hard work and
exactly. Being focused,
being
we must
focused, and,
be
and, and not getting involved in those things. And yes, life will be unfair. I'm not saying it hasn't been unfair to me as well, but you just got to go move past it. Keep moving
yeah.
past it, and one day it will not be an issue. Sorry, I didn't
It's
don't have a better answer.
no, it's perfect because this is the issue most of the females they are facing. They have domestic responsibilities, they have responsibilities at work. Managing and balancing both is sometimes very hard for them. So we would like to ask you what impact being a member of CXO Global has brought into your life or your career.
So CXO Global has been really, really good. I am able to get every news the fastest possible way in the group, right?
Yeah,
The
that's
group
one.
is amazing. Other than that, I've been able to connect with people. People come
True.
join that group, and it gives you, right. So I can probably reach out to these people on LinkedIn, but like being part of CXO Global means that we're part of one community, one family. So if I reach out to them, they know I'm from CXO, I know they're from CXO, so they will give me that time and attention that I wouldn't get if I
Yeah,
just call them
it's
or write.
familiar. You're familiar from because you're member of the same platform, and you're connected somehow somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And there has
that,
been some talks, like I've had some talks where people have reached out to me and they said that they wanted to do a partnership. This was before when I was at Keep Truckin. And,
okay.
they've connected and there's been some sort of partnerships there as well. So I think like these forums are really, really important because we're all leaders, and
Yeah,
so I went to MIT for my MBA, and one of the things that all the CEOs that came, or all the entrepreneurs or the success stories that came to us, said that the most important thing you're going to have is a network of other people in the same positions as you, because it kind of gets lonely on the top. And so
Yeah,
the best way
true,
to
true.
solve this issue is to have this network of people that you can call at any point in time. So CXO Global has done what, like, extremely skilled CEOs that came and spoke at MIT have been asking to do,
Exactly.
is provide that network and that ability to pick up the phone and say, hey, you're doing this, I have this issue. Do you have
Yeah.
some time to chat about it and see what we can do about it? So I think CXO is really, really great. And I think that anyone that's not part of it should like look into being a part of CXO Global
Thank you
Forum.
very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for being a part of our show today, and we would like to see you once again. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.